Can you bend it, or do you have to?
Go ahead.
You got it? Okay. This is a face mask template from Creative Grid. It's available. It gives you 3 sizes, a small, medium, and large. And it's a way, I was playing with this last night, and I'm telling you, from beginning to end, you can whip one of these pups out in 15 minutes. If you really get going, you could probably do it in 10. It's fast, it's easy, and you know, like with anything, you'll want to play with it to make it like really fit you well. So like with all Creative Grids, it comes with complete easy set of instructions.
They have video on their website.
They have a video on their website too. Okay. So if you look at it, the first thing that you need to do is you need 2 squares of fabric for the outside, 2 squares of fabric for the inside. Depending on the size that you're making, you would cut your squares from 5 3/4 up to 6 1/2, small, medium, large. So what you would do is, let's say you want to do, okay, let's say you want to do the medium size or the small size. So do you see the dotted lines? That's small, that's medium, and the outside edge is large. So you cut your squares, you lay them out with the edges meeting, and you're going to place your template right on top of that square like that. Okay? So if you're doing the small, you put that there, and then you're going to rotary cut it. Now the 45 works just fine here on the outside edge. I did find on the inner edge, like so, you know that horrible feeling when your blade hits the ruler? Well, I got that a few times. I found if I angled my blade away, it worked a little better, but it worked even better if I used my smaller rotary cutter. But if you do your small rotary cutter, you might have a little problem with it banging in like this. So, you know, you got to play with it a little. I found if I angled it like so, it cut much easier. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 squares for the outside of your mask, 2 squares for the inside of the mask. You're going to cut out your pieces, so you're going to have an inside and an outside, like so. You stitch that big outside curve, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you have to clip that curve. Save yourself a lot of time and trouble and use your pinking shears to just trim that. It's a lot easier than sitting there snipping. Works just fine. Then what you do is you open them up. You're going to iron, and what you would do is, what I did was iron this seam one way, and I ironed this seam the other way. You're going to put them right sides together, like this, and you're going to stitch each side with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, like so. Okay, so here's my piece. I stitched 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. Then what you do is you take your piece of elastic. They give you the measurements for the elastic, but just like with anything, you're going to adjust it to yourself, so you definitely want to make a test one to start. So you take your piece of elastic and you scooch it on the inside up to the top. You see how it's there? I have it bumped up right against the seam allowance, flush with the top of the piece. And you pin it here, and then you pin it here. Then what you do is you stitch straight across the entire edge.
Nestle your seam.
What?
Nestle your seam.
Yes, you sew your seam.
No, nestle those.
Oh yeah. You nest these 2 guys together. That's why you know, iron them in the opposite directions. So you're going to stitch across the entire top with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then go right from the edge to the edge, because you want to be sure to catch that elastic in there. And then again, you're going to clip that seam. Use your pinking shears, a lot easier, like so. All right, so you can see on this side. So I stitched it, and you have to back stitch, guys. So yeah, this isn't quilting, so you have to be sure to secure your seam at the beginning and end. So you stitch across the entire thing. Then what you do is you're going to do the same thing with your elastic on the other side. So you're going to push that elastic up inside and have the raw edges meet and have it tucked up against the side of the seam on both sides. Just be sure you get the rest of the elastic out of the way so that you don't stitch it in. And then one of the last things to do is then come right across again, and you're going to stitch back stitch, secure your stitch, stitch to about here, back stitch, leave an opening for turning, come and stitch on this side, and then you're gonna just turn the whole thing right side out. And this is where it always takes me forever. But once you turn it right side out, then you have a decision to make. Well, first, what you're gonna do. Okay, so you turn it right side out, like so. There's your opening. You're gonna turn those edges under, and then you're going to top stitch all around the edge. Before you top stitch, you have to make a decision if you want to put a pleat in the side or not. Okay, so if you don't put a pleat in the side, you know, you have to try it on, see how it feels. So you can just top stitch all around the edge to close the opening, or if you want to do a pleat, can you see this? You would just pleat. The trick to pleats is put the bulk outside, on the outside of your mask. You don't want it on the inside because that's just going to be something else pushing against your face. So you can play around with the pleats, and what I also recommend doing is if you decide to do the pleat, take it over to your ironing board, pleat it, and iron it down in place. Get it nice and flat. It'll be easier to do your stitching around the outside. So you're just going to edge stitch around the outside, and you got a mask. Show them the mask. Like this. Really, once you start doing this, you can get these done in under 15 minutes. So that is the Creative Grid face mask template, 3 sizes in 1. I have to tell you, we had how many in here?
6 this morning.
6 this morning. We have 1 left on the wall. We've already reordered because just every other person who walked in here today took one. So we will be getting more in. They're fast. They work great. You know, Creative Grid has that no slip on the outside, which makes it a lot easier too. And I think we're going to be wearing masks for a little while. So these are lightweight, easy to wear. Okay. All right. Anyone have any questions? Hey, don't.
I don't know because I can't do that at the same time.
Deb was holding the phone while I was doing this. So. Any questions? Okay. All right. So again, we have the order forms right below this video. Sorry about the little technical difficulty with the phone popping out of the holder. We'll do better next time. And that's it. Okay, thank you guys. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.